Hello, everyone. I'm Erin Van Dagna, the Service Delivery Branch Chief for the GSA SmartPay program. Today's session is Innovative Payment Solutions, so we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to the 2022 GSA SmartPay Training Forum. I hope you are all enjoying the forum so far. This session, as I said before, is called Innovative Payment Solutions, and we're going to get you thinking about how to implement more innovative offerings under GSA SmartPay. I'll be highlighting some of these offerings under the GSA SmartPay 3 master contracts. We don't have time to cover all of the possible solutions under the program, so I'm just going to highlight a few of the more popular ones, and then we're going to have a panel discussion with two agencies who are embracing innovation in the payments world. We'll also have time to answer any questions that you might have about innovative payment solutions and what these agencies that are part of our panel are doing so far. So we will go ahead and get started. Many agencies are extremely versed and efficient in running their charge card programs. After all, these have been around for over 20 years. Despite all that working knowledge of the program, many agencies still do not know or are not taking advantage of the wide variety of payment solutions that are available through GSA SmartPay. Let's think through some of these questions that you may want to ask yourself when looking at an innovative payment option or process for your agency's program. Do you see room for increased payment opportunities within your agency? That's probably the first question you should ask yourself. Are there situations where a physical card can't be used? For example, do you have cardholders in remote locations purchasing from vendors that don't often accept cards at all? Are your agency's payment solutions being used effectively and efficiently? Are you maximizing the use of various payment options when making payments for products, services, or travel? Do you use a GSA SmartPay solution for qualifying contract payments? Have you done more research into the percentage of contract payments being made by a GSA SmartPay payment solution? Have you looked into ways to move contract payments over to the GSA SmartPay program within your agency? Do you use a GSA SmartPay payment solution for recurring payments, such as utilities or subscriptions? Recurring payments are one of the easiest ways to move spend through the program and increase refunds. Are you interested in increasing refunds? I think there are a lot of us that would answer a resounding yes to this question. When asking these questions, it's important to remember to develop your payment strategy with a defined goal in mind. Think something like convenience check reduction or improved efficiencies. We can often look into our personal life to understand the vast amount of payment options in the industry. How many of us use things like mobile payments, contactless payments, or biometrics when buying things in our personal lives? We can look to industry trends to get some ideas for how to improve and modernize government programs as well. Industry trends such as contactless and mobile payments, as well as the increased use of biometrics for increased security, are important to watch as you think about the next steps for your GSA SmartPay program. I would imagine that now more than ever, you're utilizing contactless payments and mobile payments in your personal life, especially with in-person and on-site transactions taking place. In addition, biometrics have really started to take off in the industry. Many of us utilize things like fingerprint recognition on our personal mobile devices, including authorizing payments from our mobile wallets. Biometrics allow for an extra layer of security and continue to increase greatly throughout the payments industry. One of the best things about the GSA SmartPay 3 master contracts is the number of innovative solutions already included under the scope of contract. The list of solutions on this slide include many of the options available right now. In addition, if there is another solution that your agency is interested in, please feel free to reach out to my office for more information. For more information on these strategic payment options, please see the Strategic Solutions publication on the GSA SmartPay website for descriptions of each of these offerings. I will also put a link to the publication in the chat, or feel free to ask questions at the end of this presentation. Right now, we're going to move into some real-world strategic solutions agencies are using to get the most out of their GSA SmartPay contracts. We'll now move into the panel part of our training session. We have two distinguished members of our panel today. We have Jim Baldwin from the Department of Homeland Security, and we have Ken Casey from the Department of the Interior. Jim, if you could introduce yourself, please.
Thanks, Aaron. Hi, everyone. I'm Jim Baldwin, the Travel Card Agency Program Coordinator for Department of Homeland Security. We have about 170,000 travel cards with 14 components of DHS, and I've been working this position for about the past 6 years.
Great. Thank you, Jim. Ken, if you could introduce yourself, please.
Yes, I'm Ken Casey, and I'm the Charge Card Program Manager for the Department of Interior. I manage Interior's purchase, travel, and fleet card programs. In total, Interior has approximately 100,000 cards of all types, and we typically spend between $600 and $700 million per year.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Ken and Jim, for introducing yourselves. We certainly have a lot to learn from your expertise, so let's get started with our first question of the panel discussion. We don't often think about training when it comes to innovative solutions, but both of your agencies have been doing a lot of work in this area for cardholders, approving officials, and AOPCs. Can you tell us what you've been up to? Jim?
We have developed our own travel card training course. So we've been working on it for probably the past 2 years since we started with SP3 and came under a new contract bank. We do monthly audits, post-payment audits using Visa and Telelink, and we noticed some recurring travel card misuse. So we wanted to address those in our training. Fortunately, we didn't have to go to a contractor. We have an in-house travel card or in-house training development through our human capital office. So we were able to work with them and develop our own training course, and we just launched it this week. So when we're recording this in May, after working on it for probably 2 years. So I'm excited about it. I think it's really going to help our program. It's going to let people know the importance of monitoring their account, and it's going to really address those common misuses that we see in our travel card program, which I'll go ahead and share with you. It's parking at a airport terminal when taxi to and from would be a lot less expensive, and using cash when the card could be when used instead for purchases. So hopefully we'll see less of those in the future now that we have that new training course.
Well, that's great. Thanks, Jim. Really interesting to learn about that. Ken, can you tell us what the Department of Interior is doing in this area?
Yes. Right now, Interior, we're developing 4 training courses, one for purchase, travel, fleet, and AOPCs. And this will replace the generic GSA SmartPay offer training that we have been using. Our training does cover the OMB required essentials and really much more DOI charge card policy in depth. The training was developed with our Bureau lead AOPCs, and it incorporates prior recommendations from our Inspector General. The courses have some interactive scenarios and multiple checks on learning throughout to make it more interesting. And then we have a fairly rigorous final exam. And like Jim, Department of the Interior University has training developers that are assisting us in this endeavor. And we should be deploying the training in June next month.
That's great. So agencies may even be able to leverage their own in-house training professionals if they wanted to do something similar to that. And training is such an important part of the GSA SmartPay program. When cardholders and program managers are properly trained, risks of fraud, waste, and abuse are significantly diminished. So let's switch gears here from training to some other innovative solutions both of your agencies are taking on, specifically under the travel business line. Jim, can you tell us about DHS's work with virtual accounts?
Yes, back in Atlanta when we all met the last time we all met face to face, one of the uh, one of DHS's components, travel card coordinators, sat through the virtual card program. I think it was the first, and saw a use in that component, CBP, for implementing the virtual cards. So we began a pathfinder with that component, and worked with the vendor and Visa and the bank, and all through close to implementation, and we just couldn't get past the ETS2 vendor. As you know, there are two ETS2 vendors, and the one that we were working with, the one that 13 of the 14 components that DHS has, determines that the transaction would be an offline transaction. So while virtual card is expected to save time, with that being determined to be an offline transaction, it wouldn't necessarily save us money. So we are looking to, there are still some answers that we are looking for with that ETS2 vendor, in order to have a complete cost benefit analysis done, and see if we can implement it with one of our other 13 components that use that ETS2 vendor. For the other ETS2 vendor and the component that uses it, we may look at implementing later this year. So we recognize the advantages of the virtual card, and we think a lot of uses for it. We just don't know if we have, once we do a cost benefit analysis, whether we will be able to implement it.
Thanks, Jim. That sounds really interesting, and it sounds like you're making progress slowly but surely on that. I can't wait to hear more about how virtual accounts are working within DHS over the next few months and even years. Let's talk about another new payment type that was offered under the GSA SmartPay 3 master contracts. Ken, can you tell us how DOI is using the GSA SmartPay tax advantage cards?
Yes, Interior's primary travel card is a GSA Tax Advantage travel card. The card allows for transactions like airfare, rental cars, taxis, Ubers, fuel, lodging to centrally bill, while allowing transactions for meals and ATM withdrawals to individually bill. Because these major expenses, airfare, hotel, and car rentals, are centrally billed to government, the card allows for tax exemption for those centrally billed transactions. The GSA Smart Tax website has good information regarding which states require tax exemption forms for our travel card holders. We tell our travel card holders to consult that prior to traveling. Our travelers do find they do need to educate lodging and rental card vendors about the card. I think we're the only major agency that's using it right now. And we recommend our travelers take copies of the GSA Smart Tax vendor guide with them when they travel, and provide it to the hotel and rental car company at check-in, something I just did about 3 weeks ago when I was traveling.
Thanks, Ken. That's interesting. And if there's anything that my office can do to help kind of smooth the way for the tax advantage, I know that we've worked with lodging vendors in the past, and perhaps we need to pick that back up again and really do more of an educational campaign um, for travelers using the tax advantage card. So that's something I'm definitely going to take away from this conversation and
Yeah,
look
that
to
would
see
be
what we
great.
can do. Yeah. So thank you both for sharing these initiatives. If anyone has any questions on these two areas, please feel free to type them into the chat at any time. We'll read them and answer them at the end of this session. Let's move on to something that I find really interesting for use in the government marketplace, mobile payments. Jim, what can you tell us about how DHS is using mobile payments?
I can tell you we allow it, but it's really underutilized, and I don't think it's really catching on. Uh, and when I'm out spending my own personal funds, even when I'm not traveling, I forget that it's available, and just find that pulling out my credit card is just a habit, or sometimes easier. So I just, we are allowing it. There were some reservations from some of our component program coordinators, saying that, there could be lots of misuse. People would use their travel card by mistake, and we get it, that sometimes happens even with the plastic. They use the card by mistake. So we understand. We um, I just think it just needs to catch on more. We definitely prefer people to use mobile payments over cash.
Okay, that's great. Just to kind of follow up on that, and was there anything specific that you had to do with the bank in order to set up or enable mobile payments? Do you recall?
I don't recall. We have Citibank, and I don't think what there was. They had a one pager that was helpful for us to send out for cardholder communications, that kind of helped us announce it and let them know that it was available.
That's fantastic. So if other agencies were interested in that, then they definitely, for example, Citibank agencies would just need to contact Citibank, and maybe they can get the one pager and start sharing that out if they're interested in enabling mobile payments. And I would encourage agencies that utilize US Bank to do the same. Reach out directly to your contractor bank, and let them know you're interested in using mobile payments, and perhaps they can help you to get a one pager out there, or encourage use of that card type. So, mobile payments are a huge part of our everyday lives, and it's great to see them playing an active role in work as well. So, let's change course a little bit here and talk about internal controls. As you all know, strong internal controls are vital to a successful program. Ken, what can you tell us about DOI's use of Visa and Telelink as it relates to internal controls?
Sure. At Interior, our bureaus and offices must use Visa and Intelligent Compliance Management Systems analytics, rules, reports, and case management functionality to identify, flag, and review suspicious transactions, create cases as appropriate, track responses and corrective actions, and record them in Intelligent for auditor review. Our bureaus and offices run the department level rules that we develop collaboratively with our bureaus at least monthly. They're required to review transactions that are identified and take appropriate actions. Bureaus can and should augment DOI rules with their own rules. Our AOPCs have also developed customized questionnaires to be sent to cardholders and supervisors when cases are created to ensure the information collected is sufficient to disposition a case.
And that's great. Visa and Telelink is such a powerful tool. And speaking of powerful tools, I've heard DHS is using some pretty cool robotic process automation. Jim, can you give us an update on some examples of what DHS is doing with this type of strategic payment tool?
Yes, thank you. It is. I would think of it as a strategic reminder tool for our travel card holders. Within the DHS Chief Financial Office, we have a robotic process automation center of excellence, and that has been working on putting bots in place to save time for lots of different offices within CFO. So what it does, it's an attended bot. So someone logs into City Manager, that's Citibank's system, goes into their reporting side, and it runs. This is where the bot takes over. It runs a report that includes the cardholder's balance and their email address and the date due. and then it exports that report and sends them all an email that's it's got a template on it, and addresses them by their name, and lets them know that they have a payment that's coming due about 5 days before the due date. And then again, we have a second bot that goes in and does the same thing and lets them know that they have missed the due date, and gives them the amount that they have due. So this has been really helpful for those that are those cardholders who aren't yet past 31 days past due. When they go past that mark, our program coordinators take over and send them direct emails, and may include their supervisor to address their travel card delinquency. So this is something that we've seen lots of emails, lots of praise, lots of, oh, thanks, I didn't know about that. So I think it's really helped our program. We just started that about 3 months ago. So still fairly new. We are looking at also putting a bot in place to tell people that they've got a credit balance. And so that would be available. And then the draft email that we would include would have information on how to get that credit balance refund to them.
That's great. Those are such forward-thinking processes that will save time and also help remind cardholders of important activities related to their GSA SmartPay accounts. Ken, DOI is doing a lot of purchase card statement online review and approve. What can you tell us about this process?
Well, in 2021, Interior conducted a pilot for reviewing and approving purchase cardholder statements in City Manager Transaction Management System, or CTMS. Cardholders can review transactions, upload supporting documentation, and mark their transactions as approved, and then forward the statement in CTMS to their approving official for their review and approval. Interior is implementing online review and approve across DOI for purchase card statements, and starting in FY22 to FY23. In fact, our kickoff meeting is now scheduled for June 7th for this project. Interior had been waiting on City to transaction their online review and approve system from a statement-based system, which is they have now, to a transaction-based system, something we've been working to implement with them. They have it ready to go now, and so we'll be implementing that shortly. Additionally, to support the creation of approximately 8,000 approved official roles in CTMS, City fielded a roles-based entitlements templates that reduce the setup time from 25 minutes per role to 10. Interior still has some concerns with City's enhanced multi-factor authentication system because City's system does not support sending one-time passcodes to telephone numbers with extensions, of which we have quite a few across the department. So we will have cardholders who cannot access CTMS to conduct statement reviews, and we do need to develop a workaround process for those who can't access City systems.
Understand. So speaking of entitlements and MFA, what can you tell us about DOI's work in these areas?
Well, as I mentioned, what we're doing with entitlements already with the roles-based entitlements templates, that is helping quite a bit with the role creation process. Interior also implemented City's enhanced multi-factor authentication on February 1st. The two one-time passcode methods allowed in DOI are the one-time password through the City Manager app or via telephone, as I mentioned. The app is now set up to allow for multi-factor authentication for non-cardholder roles that are not merged with cardholder roles, so you can use the app for both now.
Okay, great. I just want to thank you both for sharing what your agencies are doing to innovate your GSA SmartPay programs within your agencies. At this time, we'll begin answering questions posted in the chat session. I'll read the questions out loud and ask our panelists for responses. For any requests for publications or website, we'll post those in the chat areas as well. So we'll now move to taking your specific questions and provide you with answers. So please go ahead and type your questions into the chat, and our panel will come on live and we will answer your questions directly. Thank you all.